Today we're looking at Daniel Pink's book, Drive, The Surprise Truth About What Motivates Us. And here Pink reveals three essential drivers of motivation: autonomy, mastery, and purpose. When they looked at employees being micromanaged, people have low morale. People feel as though they don't have the ability and the room to think for themselves. And this low morale is reported to result in 37% higher absenteeism and 60% more workplace errors due to this low morale. So higher absenteeism, 60% is huge. 60% more workplace errors due to low morale. So as we're looking to unlock leadership, these are things that cannot be overlooked, right? So let's look a little bit at encouraging autonomy. You want to give your employees control over how they complete a task. It's not saying they have an option in completing it, but how they complete it. So let's say instead of maybe dictating the steps and they need to kind of fill in the blanks, let them know what the necessary outcome is. So here's the outcome that we need. This is what we're working with. This is the outcome we need. Even maybe give them the time frame and let them say, how do you think is the best way to approach getting this thing done? So it may be filling in the blanks the way that it's been, and maybe they'll do that for a season. When they become faster at it, they become more efficient at it. Now they can maybe, because they've been in the process, say, well, if we put this here, or if we did this before we did that, now the system could be more efficient. I've done that countless of times on jobs that I've been on. You sit there for a while, and then when I step back and look at it, I says, well, this is taking longer than it needs to take. And if we move this here or did this here or put this in this order, now it's much more efficient. So you want to allow them the autonomy to do that. But if my boss at the time had said, nope, we don't want to hear anything, this is the way it's done, because they don't necessarily have the bandwidth because of all that you as a leader may be juggling, you may think that I just need you to fill in the blanks. I don't have room for any kind of independent thinking. But you're stifling your creativity and the ability for your team to become more efficient. So you want to be able to kind of factor that in. And we're looking at now, the workplace now, those kind of things are not optional. Remember, turnover is a $1 trillion cost to businesses in America. 1 trillion. How much money are you losing on your team if we're not factoring these things in that we're discussing on this channel, right? So you want to give them that autonomy, which is going to build trust, it's going to build confidence, it's going to help develop them. Other things you want to look at is the mastery. They want to know that they're improving. Everyone wants to know that they're getting better at something. Nobody wants to say, well, I'm doing exactly the way I did it last year or 2 years ago. I've been doing this for however long. People want to be able to see some improvement. So you want to be able to facilitate that mastery in their development. And even ensuring that they as an individual have a track within your organization. So what is their personal development plan? What are their goals for the next 6 months, next year? Have they had the opportunity to come and present to you or to HR? This is kind of the track I want. This is the roles that I'm interested in. We want to be able to know that they know that you've invested in them and you factor them in and they are part of your big growth plan. And their piece of that is something that they will sit down with HR, with their managers, and are able to articulate that they're meeting those milestones and they're able to grow into whatever the next role is. Even as the managers and the leaders on your teams, you want to always be observing and listen to the conversations and seeing how that person's gifting is rising to the surface. And say, well, it looks like you're good. Let's say it drafting. There's a course here that you may be interested in, or we notice that there's a lot of, let's say, stress. So we have stress management, we have resiliency, we have time seems to be getting away from us. So we're going to now offer some time management courses. So help you better be able to manage your time, manage your stress, and be able to do the work within the time frame, or even doing more work with less stress. We have, you name it. We see that there's an issue with, we have a number of parents and struggles with maybe getting into college or things. So we bring in someone for the season just to kind of help you look through grants and opportunities so that they're not sitting at their desk and stressed over what colleges, what's possible. When you bring someone in that helps them to do that, that cuts a whole lot of time and it takes a whole lot of stress. And now they're able to be more focused on their job because that thing that's in the subconscious mind, in the back of their minds, while they're working, their brain's always thinking about those things. And that's taken away from their ability to focus on their job. And this is leading into those workplace errors and absenteeisms. But if they have somebody on purpose that comes in and is able to kind of give them a game plan, give them cheat sheets, to kind of speak to them about, oh, you want this college? Here's some information, here's some contact, and kind of whittle down the legwork for them. Now they're able to be more efficient in doing what they need to do for their family and more efficient on their job. So doing these things and building in some of these things are going to be to your benefit, not just to the benefit of your employees. And now they're looking at you as an organization as one that sees them and is seeing about their needs outside sometimes of just them performing that job, right? It all comes full circle. But if organizations are not taking the time, not doing these little things to invest and have these resources available to employees, this is where they're turning over. This is where they're getting so stressed that maybe they're leaving to another company that will invest that in them. They're going to go into burnout a lot of times because they're trying to juggle too many things and they don't feel as though they have any help. And they don't feel necessarily as though they can speak to those type of things with a manager or someone that they would even care. So you want to front load this, you want to be proactive and looking at your team, seeing what's kind of some of the common denominators and what can we bring in to address those things. We want to grow them and we want to make sure that they have those opportunities and those resources available to them. And for everyone, purpose. You want to make sure that they are aware that what they do, no matter what it is that they do, that they're able to tag that into the big picture of the organization. We want to be able to acknowledge that, right? Your attention to detail on that report or with that client played a huge role in us sealing the deal, in keeping that client. Even if their job is to oversee those clients, we want to make sure that we're acknowledging, well, job well done, right? Connecting their task to the impact is going to increase their engagement. And as you're developing employees, we want to make sure that you're stretching them, right? It's like a muscle that wants to be built. If we're just doing the same way all the time, we're good at lifting that weight. It gets easier maybe, but we're not really growing the muscle. So everyone likes to know they're stretched a little bit. So give them opportunities to be stretched. On a number of jobs I had, and some of the jobs I remember most fondly, they had what they called shadowing. So I don't know if your organization does this, but it's always good to have the option of doing job shadowing. So one individual has their job and they're to be able to get the opportunity to shadow, they have to be able to perform their job. So they don't sacrifice one for the other. I had job in the marketing, new media department, but I said I wanted to see the news floor. I want to go see how they write the articles. And they allowed me to shadow on the newsroom floor. And I was there helping write and compile things, and it was fascinating. I loved that job so much. I was able to go and do shows, exhibitions all around the country, right? You set up the booths and do all, from everything to getting the power into the booth to sitting at the booth and training salespeople from around the world on how to integrate our products into their products. All of these things I was allowed to do as part of job shadowing and so much more. And it's what made my job so much more interesting. I was able to see how I could contribute to the big picture. So you want to be able to allow your employees, it doesn't matter if they're doing X, if they're interested in doing Y, and they're still doing their job, give them the opportunity to maybe shadow on that job. And that benefits you because now if that person's absent for some reason, you have some people that are already kind of familiar or trained in that job that are able to kind of step in there, that you need coverage if there's something going on, that person needs to be out. Now you have employees that are trained in multiple roles, which is to your benefit. So that's a win-win situation. So look to empower your employees, which is going to drive the innovation, drive your success, right? These strategies, you want to be able to implement something different if you're not already doing these. So tell me, which of these strategies do you think that you'll implement first? Let me know in the comments.